Next, we're going to have another expert joining me, and we talk about execution. And if you talk about execution in terms of wolves, young wolves are playing and training and practicing stalking and killing prey and learning how to join socially in the pack. So it's all about playing and training yourself. And next to me, Jeroen Schepers. He's partner of Involvation, a supply chain boutique consultancy. Also, you are the initiator of the Fresh Connection. Yes. A sister company in Change has developed it, but you know, you're all from the same pack, I would say. So maybe you can explain a bit about the Fresh Connection and the heritage about it. A lot of companies, I think that 250 universities are playing this game worldwide.
Yeah, it's existing now for 10 years. We developed it with Involvation, and now it's what you said, a separate company. And it's very successful. It's played all over the world with a lot of universities, but also in a lot of companies worldwide. And we play it in company. But there is also a global competition where teams can play against each other. And well, they have to manage a company and make all kind of trade-off decisions. Yeah.
So basically, my team has played themselves a few years ago. You have a team of 4 with different kind of roles.
Yes.
And you are managing a fruit juice company.
Yes, you have 4 roles: sales, supply chain, operations, and purchasing. And yeah, with your team, you have to make all kind of business decisions. And you can play a lot of teams, a lot of topics you can discuss in the game, like decision making, like strategy, KPIs, etc., team building. And as Eric also said, it's a lot of team building and it's also some competition between different teams. So that's great to play.
And also with this game, you can play out sales and operations process. What kind of decisions you have to make?
For example, your VP sales has to make all kind of decisions with your customers about service levels, lead times, etc. And that has an impact on your operations and on your machinery and on your equipment and on your shifts. That also impact on the supply chain, of course, with all the inventories, etc. And
So basically, you are doing different kind of jobs, have different kind of service lines. You're doing software selection on supply chain planning, like the Fresh Connection, training, but also on resilience. Yes. A new topic, and we will discuss it right here. So you developed together with the Supply Chain Movement, one of our titles, a mind map. Can you explain, you see it here, there are 4 elements, 4 quadrants, I would say, with the resilience. Can you explain how to resilience in your opinion? Yeah,
because you know every company nowadays knows there has to be resilient. Mm-hmm. I don't know any company that hasn't resilience in the strategy. But the big question is, of course, how? Mm-hmm. Where do you start? And that's why we, together with you, your company, we designed the mind map. And it has 4 topics, charters, angles, how you call it. And the first one is your supply chain design. Mm-hmm. Who are your tiers? Who are your suppliers, your customers, your partners? You really have to be inside in that. What's your supply base like? That's the first angle. And the second angle is about collaboration. How do you work together within your own company, but also in your end-to-end chain? And also some intelligence. You have to know what's happening in your upstream and downstream supply chain. The third one is about behavior. At the end, it's all about people in the supply chain. And the fourth one is about agility. How do you design your buffer management? How do you work with complexity, etc., complexity reduction, for example.
So in this mind map, and people can download it online at our website, supplychainmovement.com. There are a lot of phrases. So like in agility, you have your DDMRP and all kind of very specific topics. So it's all in there. It's like howling with the wolves is, resilience. Everybody is talking about it. And the next question, how many companies are really working on it?
Yeah, a lot of companies are talking about it, but really well, I know quite some companies who pick some topics from resilience. And that's why the mind map is so interesting, because then you can look for your own company. What are the relevant topics for my company? Where am I strong in, and what can be improved? And then you can make a plan where to start, how to start. Because you have to cut the elephant in pieces. Otherwise, it's too broad and too big, and then it has no success. And that's also why we developed a monitor, a resilience scan, together with the University of Groningen and Windesheim, where we, as a company, you can fill in the scan online, supplychainresilience.org. And then you can see where you are, how good or how bad you are on certain topics, and you can compare that with other companies, with your peers. So it's very exciting.
So when did you launch this checklist, or what is it?
Yeah, actually it is launched from beginning of this year, and quite some companies already filled in the scan. So we are now gathering all kind of data, and together with the university, we do some analysis. And we publicate also the results.
Okay.
It's going to be very exciting. Yeah.
Good to track. One of your colleagues has written a blog also on our website about resilience is about a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So people, some persons will get a heart attack and they have to change their way of living.
Yeah.
So how do you compare, having a heart attack and then moving into the area of resilience?
Yeah, maybe you can compare it with overweight, for example. I'm not sure, but it's maybe not so difficult to do something about your weight. Well, it's difficult, but it's doable. But the real challenge is to stay on that weight. And that's the same with companies. Okay, you can pick one or two topics from resilience and work on it and become very good in it. But then you have to stay at a good level. And that's why also behavior, culture, leadership is very, very important. And I know a couple of companies who are quite good in it, but they have strong leadership. And that's, I think, very important.
If you could compare a company as a body, and with its body has overweight, the whole body, the whole company has to be aligned. Otherwise, the whole body stays on overweight.
Yeah, exactly. And it has to be good in your mind. Physically, you have to be in shape, but you have to find a way to keep in shape. And I think that's the same with resilience. And I think it's very important to mention that for every company, resilience is something different, I believe. That it depends on your situation, on your maturity, on the market where you're in. So that's why you have to be very... know what you're doing, and that's why a scan or a mind map is so important to get a good plan and a good strategy to work on it.
And I can imagine, especially now, you hear a lot about burnout, especially in supply chain. A lot of planners, the last 2 years have been rough, and they're still in a sluggish economy, and it's still not going like before COVID. So the mental health is also a part to be in it matter to stay resilient.
Yeah, I really believe that, because that's why you have to look at it from a holistic point of view. Not try to sometimes improve the forecast, for example. Yeah, that's not doable sometimes anymore. So you can try to fix that, but maybe you have to do something else. Maybe you have to reduce some complexity. Maybe you have to do something about your collaboration, about your buffer management, about some design in your chain. So, you have to do the right things, especially in an environment that's so challenging nowadays.
Another visual we have created together with the Involvation is the SNOP software map about sales and operations planning. It's all about the process, the different steps you have to take, and which departments are involved. And I think especially, SNOP has been, quite hot in the last 5 years as a topic, and also in software matters. But this visual is very helpful to explain all the different steps in the decision-making process.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And by the way, it's a part of resilience, I believe, the whole sales and operations planning. Because, also resilience is all about making trade-off decisions. And the way how you do that, you have to manage that. You have to organize, to structure that in your company. And the subway map also helps because you have different levels of S&OP, I would say. You have the integrated business planning with the whole financial impact. You have the sales and operations planning part on the mid horizon, but also sales and operations execution. And I think all three layers you have to organize in your company. And with the subway map, you can look, okay, what is my goal? What do I want to realize? What are my objectives? And who needs to be on the table? What kind of decisions do I have to make? On what horizon? And then you can organize your process around it. So for the more operational part, executional part, you need a sales and operations execution process.
Yeah.
More on the short-term horizon.
But it's good with this visualization. Actually, you have this whole process on one page, and you can check if everybody is on the same page.
Yeah.
Are we discussing the same step in the process? It's a monthly cycle, and with weekly meetings, and maybe you have to speed up. Maybe you have to have a different cycle on sales and operation execution. But this kind of visualization is especially useful for the communication internally. You know, do we have the right process? Do we make the right decisions?
I think so. And what I see in a lot of companies during the whole COVID crisis, they really were focusing on allocation. And that was good, because that was needed at that time. But now they have to make the step to also the more tactical level, and to really change some things. And you don't have to. It's not good to mix those two processes up. You have to have a good sales and operations execution process, and besides that, you have to need a sales and operations planning process or an integrated business planning process.
Talking about that, we have created a visualization of what we call the planning tower, and we call it the convergent planning tower. It's a T-shaped tower. It looks like this, and basically it's a stack of all kind of processes, but also a stack of different kind of IT system. It started on the first floor with your ERP, where you have your administration of sales orders, and the second floor you have your sales and operation execution. But that's a mixed bag of all kind of systems of order management, warehouse management, transport management, production management. So that's one thing. So I think S&OE is not available as a clear package. Then on the third floor you have your S&OP, your sales and operations planning, where you have your midterm matching supply and demand, mostly on volume. And your IBP, the long-term financial gap closing with your decisions on what to do next, and hopefully in euros and dollars explained. And on the top layer you have your end-to-end planning, where you look at the market with demand side, and also the market on the supply side, and there you see the scarcity of material. If you look at this control tower or the planning tower, I would say, where do you see the most of the attention looking for solutions?
Yeah, it's quite difficult to have a good planning system on all the planning layers, I think, and that's a big challenge. Sometimes the companies have the same planning system for the executional level and the tactical level, and that's difficult, I believe. But I think there are a lot of developments nowadays also in software. And by the way, the most difficult thing is that it has a different aggregation level. On the executional level, it's all about articles, stock keeping units, the lowest detail level. But on the more tactical and strategical level, you don't need all the details. And so you need another way of planning, another way of working with data, and also integrate your assumptions and your business drivers, and it's another way of forecasting, and that's I think there are quite some developments, but you don't have to must mix them up on the executional level and the tactical level.
Good point. Yeah, Jeroen, thank you for joining me. Thank you for explaining how we did the visualization on resiliency in the mind map and SNOP on the supply map. So we'll expect a lot about your resilience check,
Yeah.
and see what we can get out of that on the maturity on that level. So thanks a lot.